Everybody. Graham, welcome back. Thanks for coming to part 2 of the Monday night chat show with Graham Jones, the internet psychologist. Graham, you were telling me that there's some more advanced things coming through on Google, something called MUM. Now, I thought, again, you're having a wind up. You never met my mum, and somebody's made something up. What is this all about, Graham?
Google's MUM is coming to us relatively soon, and it's going to change everything. So if you were just getting used to search engine optimization, just getting used to what you've had to do online, I'm afraid you've got to learn a whole new world of stuff all over again. MUM is the Multitask United Model. And actually, it makes a lot of sense, because if you think about what we do at the moment when we search for things, the way we search and what we search for is not producing good results. Now, Google know this from their own data. We know that the majority of people who search for something search again using similar words to the ones they just used within 10 seconds. So what that's telling us is that they search for something and then they realize that the results they get weren't what they were looking for. So they revise their search terms. And here's the problem. You only get search that's based on your previous search behavior and also based on where you are and based upon the language that you speak. And yet the search result that you might want could be something that isn't on the internet. So you might want information that actually isn't available on a website or a social network, and yet that would be the best piece of information for you. And so Google search is not giving you the best piece of information. It's giving you weak information for you. Let's think of an example. Let's imagine that you wanted to go to Slovenia as a rough example, Derek. Yeah? Why don't we think of Slovenia, and you'd want to go to a nice tourist attraction in Slovenia. Now, if you wanted to do that, you could type into Google, top tourist attractions in Slovenia, and it will give you a nice list. The Slovenian Tourist Authority might give you something to look at, but it would be written in English for you. And yet, actually, the person who probably knows the best is the person who wrote the book called The Top Tourist Attractions in Slovenia, but in the local language. And that book isn't available anywhere other than a bookshop or on Amazon. The content isn't available on Google, and yet what you want is to know what that information is in that book, because that's going to be the best information for you. Google can't give that to you at the moment. So here's what they're saying, that there are lots of other places where information that you as a visitor to Google want, but actually you're being prevented from getting. So, for example, let's imagine that you were asking, another example, how do I cook the best ravioli? Yeah. Now, it may well be that an Italian chef did that in a TV documentary and showed you in Italian how to make the best ravioli. So if you type in how to make the best ravioli into Google, you're not going to get the best information that you can get, because it's embedded in a TV documentary somewhere, which isn't available on the internet. So this is what Google is trying to work out as a conundrum. What it means is that when you type something into the new MUM-based Google, that it will find those things that currently it can't find. So that if you're typing in what's the best tourist attractions in Slovenia, it will tell you that the list is in the local language in this book, not on a website. It will tell you, if you want to know where how to make the best ravioli is, it's at this point, 4 minutes into this documentary on Italian TV.
Wow.
So what the aim is to say, look, the information is out there, but at the moment, the Google index is hugely biased against us finding the best information. So what they want to do is remove that bias. That means that everything we do in terms of search engine optimization at the moment is going to have to change. Everything you do for your website to get noticed is going to change, because you might be an expert in a particular area, but you're only an expert in your language in that particular area, which means you're going to compete against somebody who's a similar expert in a different language who hasn't got a website but has got a book, and Google will find the content of the book. And therefore you're going to lose out to people you don't even know exist at the moment. So what this is going to do is dramatically increase the competition for you and your business on the internet. At the moment, we face a lot of competition because people can go anywhere to buy stuff online. This is going to raise that competition level exponentially. So if you thought you were competing against lots of people at the moment, when MUM comes along, it's going to get worse.
What can we do about it, Graham, then? Come on, solution. We're solution-oriented meeting. I nearly couldn't say it. What can we do?
The solution is to prepare.
Yeah.
And so to prepare for this, it means that if you have got expertise, you have got to make sure that your expertise is well established online in a whole range of different media. Remember, this is the multitask united model. In other words, it's uniting all these different things into one way. So it means you've got to have videos, you've got to have podcasts, you've got to have books, you've got to have all the different ways, so that when Google is looking at all the different places where this information can come from, it's going to say, well, this person must be good because they have got a podcast, they have got lots of things, they have got multimodal kind of material. And at the same time, if you can get that into other languages, even better.
Wow, okay. So so the people that are one-dimensional here need to widen it up and open it up. So does that mean we should be posting on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube?
That brings me on to another point about whether or not we're going to be successful with social media. So if you're posting on all these things, that's great. But actually, is it going to work for you in terms of making money? There's some research recently looking at how much activity do you need for a business to generate $100,000? So about £80,000. So if your business is turning over $100,000 or about £80,000 a year, so relatively small business, what kind of activity do you need on the different social media to help you generate that level of income? So for example, if your business relied just on YouTube, in order to help you generate that £80,000 a year, you need to have 24 million views of your videos every year. Anything less.
Hang on. What do you mean by that? Do you mean that to earn the advertising on YouTube?
Part of it might be advertising, but this is about how a business at that level performs. So the businesses who perform at that level and use the internet to do it, that's the kind of viewing figures they need on YouTube to generate that kind of income. And so you've got 24, but that's nothing. If you were a TikTok person, you need 270 million views a year to generate the same amount of income on TikTok. Wow. If you want to generate the same amount of money on Instagram, bless you, Tim, I just saw you sneeze. Bless you
too.
Thank you. If you want to generate the same amount of income on Instagram, you're going to need to have at least 5,000 followers. So in other words, what this data is showing us is that if you want to use social media, you have got to really use it. So all those people who are earning, the people who are earning millions out of social media, those influencers and so on, the YouTubers, that's all they do. They have to just do generating videos on YouTube, generating the traffic towards those videos using other social networks and so on in order to earn the money from those videos. The fact is that actually there is so much social media out there, almost every business is almost entirely invisible on social media. So it's not really contributing to most people's business. In fact, it's probably reducing most businesses' profitability.
So hang on a minute, you go into clients and you tell them how to use social media. So you're out of work now, are you, Graham?
No, because there's a lot of clients I tell them not to bother.
What's your fee for doing that then?
The same fee for telling them how to do it.
Oh, okay. I never take you seriously, but anyway, never mind.
No, but if it's wasting time, the thing that we need to worry about, Will Kintish is on this call, and he knows, I'm sure he'll tell me, that the most important figure that you've got on your accounts is that bottom line. Has your business turned in a profit and increased the value of your business? So, you want to see a healthy profit and loss sheet, and you want to see a healthy balance sheet. That's what you want to see in your business. And if the use of social media is taking up so much time and effort out of your business, you are removing yourself from other profitable ventures, then that's not doing your bottom line any good.
Sure. Just one thing, Graham, there's 4 bankers on here, including me. And that's nonsense, because we know that accountants can cook the books and show any profit they want to. Cash is king. Cash in the balance sheet is what we want to see as bankers.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter whether you're a banker or an accountant, you see, because you're only going to generate that cash if you are spending your time in such a way you can generate the cash. If you are spending your time in the hope that social media will generate the income for you, and you're spending more time on doing that than cash generating activities, then you haven't got the cash. Equally, if you're spending more time on doing those things, you're not helping your bottom line on your balance sheet either.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter whether you're a banker or accountant. The thing is the same. It's about time. People are wasting their time doing social media activity that is not necessarily going to help them. It will help you if you put the effort in and you spend lots of time generating 24 million views on YouTube.
Wow. What I'm hearing here is the whole thing's changing so fast. We need to really keep pace on this and review what we're doing all the time, don't we?
Absolutely. I was working with a company recently who wanted their website reviewed, and they asked me to analyze their website. It's a service I do for businesses to try and help them understand, are they really connecting with people on their website? And their website probably wasn't going to connect with people because their news section, so there they'd got at the top of their website, news. And I thought, okay, I'll find out what the company's latest news is. And this was only, 2 months ago. And the latest news on their website was from Christmas 2018. And so anybody looking at that website thinks they're out of business. So they were looking at change. So they were asking me to think about how could they change their website now, when actually the last change they made to it was well before 2018. We need to be thinking about changing our websites every week, not every few years. So the web, the internet, is a living thing, and every bit of activity we do has got to be living as well. We as people, when we land on a website, we expect it to be different every time, because all the other websites, the big sites that we use most of the time, the likes of Google and Amazon and so on, they're changing what they're doing the whole time.
Hang on a minute, though, because 1 or 2 of us are quite small businesses, even though we pretend that we're a big business and we market like that. We can't be changing our websites every week. It's just an online brochure, isn't it?
No, that's just an attitude change, you see, because your business is the internet. So your business, Derek, is an online business. Everything you should do, every daily activity should be about what you do online. You will be able to happen to make money out of negotiation masterclasses and so on because of what you do online. In other words, that many businesses have it the other way around. They will have the internet as a kind of spin-off activity out of their business, a brochure. The businesses that really succeed online do it the other way around. They go, everything we do is online, and we just happen to be able to do business as a result of what we do online. A classic example of this is Starbucks. Chief executive said, I don't know, whatever it was, 5, 6, 7 years ago, Starbucks is an internet business, and what we do online enables us to sell coffee in the real world.
Okay, now we're again, we're running out of time. We always run out of time with you, Graham, because you got so much information. It's so interesting. But you talked this morning to me about Twitter Blue. I thought that was an airline like Virgin Blue. What's Twitter Blue?
JetBlue you're thinking of as an airline. Which
Virgin Blue in Australia. I've been there.
Okay, well, JetBlue on Twitter actually does have a very good Twitter account. They do very well. But Twitter Blue is only available at the moment in Canada and in Australia. It was only launched 4 days ago. It's the first ever subscription service from Twitter. So you pay, at the moment, they're charging about £25 a year. And what they're hoping is that once they've done their experiments in Canada and Australia, they will start to bring it to other countries. And the idea is that you will pay for premium features. At the moment, those premium features are, in my view, are pretty limited. But I think they're just seeing at the moment whether or not people will pay. And then obviously they will have tiers of membership, presumably, at some point. But at the moment, what you can do is put tweets into folders so you can organize all the tweets. You'll be able to recall a tweet for 30 seconds. So if you just tweeted something and then you think, oh my goodness, I shouldn't have said that, or oh my goodness, there's a spelling mistake in that, as long as you react within 30 seconds, you'll be able to call it back. You'll be able to reduce what's called the screen furniture. So you'll have an ability to get rid of all the distractions, so you can just concentrate on reading a thread of tweets about something. And these are all the things that they are charging for. So Twitter is going to start going down the subscription route.
Well, no, I follow you, Graham. I do whatever you tell me to do. And you told me to give up Twitter. It was a waste of time about a year ago. But before you answer that question, Ollie Robinson, the England fast bowler, just as he was about to bowl his first ball, they found a tweet from 2012 which said some pretty nasty BAME things. Will he be able to get rid of that? I mean, that just shows, doesn't it, how dangerous the internet is. And for those of you that didn't see it, this young lad of 12 who's now playing cricket for England put a rather stupid tweet up when he was a kid.
He put several racist and sexist tweets up when he was 18, so he's now 27, but he had deleted them, so they weren't on his account. The fact is that other people may have retweeted them, so that's on their accounts. Other people may have taken screenshots of them. There are all kinds of ways these things can be preserved, even if you think you've deleted it. So the answer is, don't say anything on social media that you wouldn't say to your mum.
I know. Well, or on emails.
Or anything there, because it's there forever.
Yeah, I probably told you the story, Graham, that I was called to the High Court to explain how a friend of mine in Barclays had sent me an email 6 years before, which said, Derek, this account is a bunch of shit. And the judge wanted me to explain exactly what that meant. I thought it was pretty clear what it meant, and I nearly told him that, but that would have been, I was kicked by the lawyer at that time. I couldn't believe. And my pal, who's not on here, who I work with in Barclays, was called back from Hong Kong under subpoena to do the same thing. And putting anything in emails or anything online is really stupid. So should I be using Twitter and Facebook? Because I'm not. I'm bored with it.
Well, if you're bored with it, don't use it. It's really simple. But if you're bored with it, don't use it. Don't feel that you have to use these things. If you want to use Twitter to benefit your business, then you need to put the effort in. And the effort is going to require you to do a lot more work than most people do on Twitter. So those Twitter accounts that really succeed, a bit like the YouTube who gets 24 million views and all the rest of it, it's people who spend a lot of time and effort doing it. If you're not spending that time and effort doing it, the few retweets you get, the few kind of activities you get, are going to be pretty limited. That means that actually what we need to be thinking about is how we use the technology for the interests us, but also interests and benefits our visitors. So if our visitors are bored by Twitter, what's the point? Because they're not really going to engage with it.
And the other thing I remember you telling me was that a tweet has about a 2-minute lifespan, but something on Instagram has a bit longer, and a YouTube video has even longer. How does that work?
Yeah, so the life of a tweet, almost all of the activity on any tweet is done within the first 5 minutes of that tweet.
Right.
Almost all of the activity on something on Instagram is done in the first about 18 hours. Anything on LinkedIn is done in the first 48 hours. So LinkedIn posts last a lot longer, but you've got far fewer people than on Instagram or YouTube or any of the others. So it lasts longer, but it's a smaller number of people that are going to be able to engage with.
Now we're going to redo and revamp our top masterclass in London, aren't we? In October and November. We've put it on hold for 2 years. In those days, last time we were doing 17 sessions of 17 minutes of the top leadership management tips that we could possibly do. 17 minutes is too long now for people's attention span.
It is.
Have to do 8 sessions of 32. You know, I've got the maths wrong there. I have 8 minutes, 32 sessions.
Yeah, whatever the maths is, but there is, when we think about what people watch on and look at on the internet, the drop off the time kicks in after about 5 to 6 minutes. So what the data shows is that something that takes people between 3 and 6 minutes on the internet is about all they can cope with. So people who've stuck with us will not have stuck listening to you and me all the time. Some people will have mentally switched off every few minutes and picked up again a bit later. Nobody here will have listened to the whole thing. So most people will only tune in for about 3 to 6 minutes.
Okay, Graham, that's fantastic. Got some questions now for you. I'm going to fire them away and pick them up. Just want to cover that one later, because Gregor says, thanks for the advertisement for the Slovenian tourist board. Late bled, here we come, Gregor. David Skinner says, surely MUM has changed the bias to people who have multi-dimensional presence. How does it recognize, for example, if the best information happens to be held with someone who only uses a single channel?
I think that's going to be part of the conundrum that Google's going to have to solve. So that if you're the, if all you've got is, say, a blog, and you're the expert on that topic for the whole world, they're going to have to weigh up what you do on that blog compared with the person on the other side of the planet who's written a book about the same topic but has got nothing on the internet. So that's what they're going to have to try and work out in their algorithms that are going to do this. I don't think it's going to be an easy task for them, but it's an important task, because it may well be that somebody with a single channel is the expert, but equally it may well be that somebody who is all over the place in terms of across the internet is also the expert. So they're going to have to try and balance that. Not going to be easy, but
is there a shortcut to it by posting the same material on 10 different channels, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and think you can fool Google?
Yeah, multiple streams of content for the same thing are useful, but not identical content, because obviously you're not going to put on Instagram what you put on YouTube. It's going to be different.
I might cut and paste it if it works.
Afraid not, no.
Okay, I thought you'd say that for some reason. Okay. Jill English asks, or says, when she chaired a small charity, the idea we have a list of testimonials and change the testimonials every day 4 times and have a cycle on it. It was low cost, low effort of refreshing the website. Is that, I remember those. Is that a good idea?
What, you remember testimonials?
Yeah, I had 1 or 2 before everyone started complaining about me.
I had 2, one from me and one from Will. Was that it? Yeah.
And you withdraw them.
Refreshing testimonials, refreshing any content is good. Changing the order of the content and so on is good. But for testimonials, a bit like reviews on Amazon or anything else, the important thing is the number you have. So research shows that we as human beings look at things and go, if you've got 4 testimonials, you're probably not any good. Because if you'd got more than that, if only 4 people can bother to write a testimonial, then you're probably not very good. So if you've only got a few, it's better to show none. If you've got several, you need to add to them. And actually, we need to put them in the order that people trust them. So what? Take your tip from Amazon. They're doing all right on the internet, by the way. Put the 5 stars at the top. Yeah. So 5 stars, the most recent 5-star at the top. So people look at how recent the item is and how many stars effectively it is, how positive is the review. So recent positive at the top, and then go down. People will scroll down, they look and go, well, it's only got 2 1-stars, so that's okay. But yeah, it's the number. Yeah, so if you've got 2 products on Amazon, for example, and one's got 10 reviews and one's got 1,000 reviews, people are going to buy the 1,000 reviews. Brilliant.
Well, I look forward to yours and Will's new testimonials, and anybody else that wants to give me one tonight, but not a 1-star, please. I'm afraid there's 1 or 2 comments here. I'm going to read them out. Martin, of course, in Leicester would say he thinks that Twitter Blue sounds like a porn website. And Tim says that social media is your digital tattoo, which is actually a fantastic metaphor from Tim, who's a fantastic speaker, sitting there in Texas. And Betty from San Francisco says, imagine anything you've written on the internet or anywhere on a large screen in a courtroom, if ever called to testify. That is fantastic advice from Betty.
That's good.
From private investigator Godfrey in the deep dark Dorset, should an employer use an investigator to troll social media as part of the application recruitment process, or the English Cricket Board before they employ a test fast bowler?
Well, there's software to do it, so they don't need to employ anyone to do it. There's software that find this for them. So, it's just, I can't imagine why, major sporting bodies, particularly those where you're getting people to represent their country, that you haven't checked this out and got policies in place to work out what to do in advance. That's 10-year-old stuff, 20-year-old stuff.
Graham, the MCC and the English Cricket Board still thinks W.G. Grace is playing for them, so it is a bit
okay.
Sadly.
Graham, do you think that's why the unusual step of the Culture Secretary stepping in to say that the sanction is being far too severe? It was really unusual news where, I don't know if you saw it, our Culture Secretary from government has stepped in to say the ECB in banning this young chap has been really over the top.
Yeah, quite why the Culture Secretary has stepped in, I don't know. He will have his political reasons for doing it. But basically, this mess never needed to have happened in the first place.
Richard from California is pleased to see that his email dilemma isn't the same isn't unique. And Jill says, might there be a digital equivalent of scientific citations to give expert information more credibility?
So that so in fact, Google already does that. It takes into account the credibility of everything. So its current algorithm looks at how credible something is said. It's got AI that looks at, did a human write this, or was it partly written by computer kind of thing? So it's very sophisticated in what it achieves at the moment. It's just limited by the availability of the information and the way it looks for it. So it's very one-dimensional in where it looks. It looks on the web. And so what it wants to do is look in all the other places. Remember that Google's reason for being, its aim in business, is to index the world. And much of the world is not on the internet. So it's currently trying to extend, this is what MUM is about, it's extending what it's looking for in terms of going beyond what's just effectively on the web.
Okay. And is Google going to end up paying a bit more tax to everybody after this meeting in the Carbis Bay Hotel in Cornwall, which is about to take place as Joe Biden flies into this massive hotel?
Well, you see, I found that really interesting that they're saying that these multinationals will all pay 15% corporation tax. So that means in some of the countries, their corporation tax will go up, in others it will come down. So actually to the businesses, it doesn't mean very much. But there are plenty of other countries that are not signatories to this agreement. So if I were running Google, I'd put my businesses in those other countries. It's really straightforward.
And that kind of happens now, doesn't it? When my parcel arrives in 6 hours from from Amazon. It's apparently sent from Luxembourg or Milton Keynes, but there's a few people waving, so I'm going to close the meeting in a minute, Graham. Anyway, will you stay on for a little while and answer a few more questions in the chat box?
Sure, I will. Yeah.
Thanks very much. Thanks everybody for joining tonight. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening to it on the Negotiators podcast, please enjoy it, please like it, please join us live and send in your questions to me or to Graham Jones. Graham Jones, the internet psychologist. You can find Graham on www.grahamjones.co.uk. Thanks for joining us, Graham, and look forward to seeing you in another 3 months' time for another update. We'll give you a big wave, Monday night wave.